What's going on, everybody? How are you? Nice to see you. Nice to talk to you. My name is Marc Farzy. This is the Farzy Show here at the Steven Sanger Studios. We got plenty to get into, as I tell you every day. My good friend Barrett Brooks will join the program, talk some Eagles football. But we're going to start things off today by talking about those Phillies. And I really would like it explained to me in some, I don't know. Am I just dumb? Like, I repeated kindergarten. The evidence is there. I might be really stupid. But let's look at it this way. What are they trying? What are they trying to protect Rhys Hoskins from again? Because I thought first it was elbow, and now it's a groin. It's been a groin for a while. And I'm watching him play first base, and I see him in the fourth inning not be able to field a ball hit right at him. Should have been able to knock it down at least. And then I see him in the or keep it in front of you, as they would tell you in Little League. And then I see him in the fifth or sixth inning, I think it was. He comes out, and a ball's hit sharply in his direction. And then it just looked like a sniper got him, and he just went down like a sack of potatoes. And you knew at that moment that he wasn't healthy. He's healthy enough to bat. I know that. But unfortunately, in the National League, he's got to play in the field as well. He is not healthy enough to play. And I know he hit a home run later in the game that tied things up, and that was awesome. And I admire this guy for giving it his all. But I'm just a bit confused when Joe Girardi is telling you they're trying to protect him, and yet I see him go out there and not be healthy enough to play. Healthy enough to bat, sure, but healthy enough to play 9 innings of first base? Absolutely not. I'd rather him take him out and not have him play at all so that I at least know I have him for September. And you know what? I know he's not going to play today as they start this 4-game series with the Diamondbacks, and I know they got 10 games coming up against absolutely crap opponents that I'm really hoping the Phillies do not play down to, as we have seen them do that time and time again. And I'm hoping that the vast majority of these games being at home will help them not play down to their opponent. But I'm hoping as they go into this stretch, they won't need Rhys Hoskins at first base, that they'll actually be able to beat these teams handily, comfortably. I'm not betting on them to do it, as I like to say, but I'm sure hoping they're able to do it. Rhys Hoskins needs a much longer break than what he's been given. And I'll say this, Joe Girardi's comments after the game about Rhys Hoskins and about what Rhys Hoskins has been doing in this lineup and what he's been doing on the field and how he's been pushing himself, about everything he said about Rhys Hoskins and how he gives him a lot of credit. Here's the cut from Joe Girardi talking about what Rhys Hoskins has been bringing to the table, even though he's not 100% healthy.
I mean, yeah, I think that's accurate. And, that's why we're trying to protect him as much as possible and to get him as many at-bats. And, he's given everything he's got. Let me tell you, I give Rhys a ton of credit because he's really gotten through this.
When I hear gutting through it from a manager, what I really hear in Joe Girardi's voice is, I'm telling Rhys he shouldn't be playing, but you try keeping Rhys Hoskins out of the lineup. You try telling Rhys Hoskins, we're going to shut you down for another week, man, because it's just not right. But the minute you see him not be able to move at first base, you kind of have to say to yourself, there's no way I can let him play. You're out. Like, he's either healthy enough to play or he's not. And I don't want to take his bat out of the lineup, but what choice do you have at this point? I'd love to see somebody in this Phillies lineup. Brad Miller, even though he's not any real upgrade over Rhys Hoskins at first base. He might be now because at least he can move. If you're in a spot where you have to take him out, you have to take him out. Once you see him play the way he was playing yesterday, how can you justify playing him if you're trying to protect him? And there was no more glaring, obvious flare in the air, huge sign that he couldn't be at first base in the plays he was trying to make at first base yesterday. Most notably the one where he attempted to dive to his right to stop a ball from going into right field, and he wasn't able to do that. That was one problem I had with last night's game. The other is, I'm all for letting your starting pitcher pitch as long as he possibly can. I told you many times how I hate pitch counts and all that, but there's a reason why they become so popular for 20 years. It's because there's something to it. And once a pitcher gets to 100 pitches, or once your starting pitcher's out there in the ninth inning and you see that the leadoff runner gets on and he's already over 100 pitches, maybe it's time to go, I think I should take this guy out. But Joe Girardi opted not to take Zach Wheeler out of the starter spot, out of the ninth inning yesterday. Instead, the leadoff runner gets on. The next thing you know, a bomb gets hit to right field, the upper deck in right field. Like, there's supposed to be a thing called feel of the game. And Joe Girardi was supposed to bring in that feel of the game of just kind of knowing what's going to happen before it happens. But Joe, and this is what's crazy, you see him kind of throw his hands up in the air after the game, and he talks about why he still wanted Zach Wheeler in that game. I think Joe is just in that mode right now. Like, I think he's almost like a bettor, where a bettor is like, no. This next one, I'm telling you, this next one's really going to hit. This next one's really going to do it. And then the next one doesn't hit. The next one doesn't do it. And he's just left speechless. Joe Girardi on leaving Zach Wheeler in after the game.
I mean, I like his stuff. I mean, I think his stuff was still good. I think he went in that inning, 92 pitches. Maybe it was 94. He only threw about 4 or 5 pitches up to that point. He has the ability to get strikeouts. He had done a good job against, their catcher all night and expanding the zone on him and having him chase. And, he just made a mistake.
He made a couple of mistakes in that inning. And when you see him make that first mistake, that's where you got to think about taking him out, Joe. That's where this is the thing that bothers me. He was supposed to have the feel that Gabe Kapler didn't have while he was here in Philadelphia. He was supposed to have the feel and the idea of how to motivate his players more so than what Gabe Kapler was. I haven't seen any type of huge improvement with Joe Girardi as the manager of this baseball team. And this isn't revisionist history. Gabe could not have been here anymore. The players made that decision. I feel like Rhys Hoskins. I feel like more so than anybody, Bryce Harper made that decision. But I haven't seen any real difference in how this ball club has been managed from Gabe Kapler to Joe Girardi. I really haven't. And that's what's really unfortunate, because that makes me expect the same thing down the stretch, which means this team isn't going to make the playoffs. And I know that's kind of what I've been expecting now for a while, that the team's just not going to do it. But I still have hope alive because of the next opponents they're going to have over the next 10 games. This is where they can really make up ground on the Braves. This right here is where they can make up ground. You already lost both games of this series when you saw Atlanta Braves team lose both games to the Yankees. But now the Braves, they had the off day yesterday, so the Phillies lose a half game because they lost with the Braves idle. So now the Braves go out and face the Dodgers, and now the Braves go out and face the Colorado Rockies. While they're out there for 7 games, Phillies need to make up some ground right now on the Diamondbacks, get some damn revenge, play with a little bit of an edge to you. And I love the fact that after the 2 days ago, Bryce Harper came out and said, hey guys, time's running out. Let's do this. Let's get this going a little bit. It was one of the first times you really heard Bryce Harper as a real leader in the clubhouse, as opposed to being a guy campaigning for guys to get signed. I understand that he wants to be the Pied Piper for how the front office works and who they should go after and all that. That's great. But in the clubhouse, sending messages to your teammates, I think is even a bigger deal right now, especially with Rhys Hoskins being out. After you saw Rhys Hoskins try to dive for that ball to his right, I thought to myself, he's done. He's cooked. He's out. There's no way you can continue to play him. You even saw him walk up the dugout and go up the tunnel thinking he was going to get evaluated. And then Bryce Harper comes up in the very next inning and blasts the ball to center field, 445 feet, just murdered a baseball. And you thought, all right, there's the changing of the guard right there. Bryce, this has to be your team from here on out. And even though Rhys Hoskins is the one that stepped up later and tied the game up at 4 later in the ballgame, this still has to be this has to be Bryce Harper's team now. If this team is going to do anything, Bryce Harper needs to, if he's not going to be the MVP of the year, he needs to be the MVP of late August, early September. That's what he has to be for the Phillies to have any hope, any chance of actually making it to the postseason for the first time in a decade. I already see the emo Marc things coming up in the chat here. I saw that picture that our friend Dan put up there yesterday on the old Twitter. And I guess that's emo. Is emo like kind of goth plus punk plus I hate my parents? Is that kind of what that is all in one? Because that's kind of what it looked like to me. Melancholy. A lot of melancholy stuff going on with emo. See, I don't even know emo. But you already put the quarter in, folks. You already put the quarter in. So look, Phillies got the Diamondbacks for 4. Then they got the Washington Nationals for 3. And then they got the Marlins for 3. These are terrible baseball teams. Also on the bump tonight for the Phillies, Zach Eflin returns from his IL stint and his rehab stint. So hopefully he comes out and he's just throwing. And here's the problem. I just keep on. Here's the thing that I keep on saying here. The Phillies and hopefully. Those are the second part of that shouldn't always accompany the first. What is it? The latter shouldn't always accompany the former. Is that what that meant? Anyway. Hopefully. Anyway. The Eagles practiced again yesterday against the New York Jets. Like I said, Barrett Brooks is going to be along in just a couple of minutes to join us for that conversation. A couple of interesting things surrounding the Eagles right now. One interesting thing surrounding the Eagles right now is this mindset from Nick Sirianni about how they've had 7 preseason games because they've had joint practices with the Patriots and now joint practices with the Jets. And then they're going to have 3 preseason games, actual preseason games. But somehow in the joint practices, that means they've had 7 because of the competition level in those joint practices. Those are practices. Anything that ends in practices or practice or even joint, whatever you want to call it. Oh, yeah, those are the jokes right there I just gave you some free material there, comment section. But when you're looking at this team and you're looking at the Eagles right now, if we're not even giving a lot of credit to actual games, albeit preseason games, we're all of a sudden going to start to put more credit into practices. This is the first time I'm hearing of this. We've had joint practices before. Chip Kelly had joint practices. All right, fine. But you mean to tell me that you're going to put more stock into a practice than you are to a game? Albeit a preseason game? Like, we don't even give credit to preseason games. Now we're going to be like, well, you know what? This preseason game sucks. But you know what you should charge admission for? There's those practices because that's where the real competition is. What? Are you serious? I, in no way, shape, or form, could ever put a practice at the same level of a game. That just doesn't make any damn sense to me. I think Barrett Brooks might have the same opinion as me, as a matter of fact, when we talk to him in just a second. We'll learn from Nick Sirianni on that. The other thing Nick Sirianni got into yesterday was Jordan Mailata versus Andre Dillard. In case you're confused, and I can understand why you would be confused, because you read one thing and you see one guy playing, and you've seen one guy play, and you've seen the other guy not really play all that much. And when you have seen him play, he hasn't been that good. The left tackle competition is over. In case, if I have to tell Nick Sirianni this, I'll tell Nick Sirianni this, and I'll say it right now. The left tackle competition, as well as the quarterback competition, as far as I'm concerned as well, that's over as well. The starting left tackle of the Philadelphia Eagles is Jordan Mailata. He has earned it. He is the better football player. He's the guy who will be protecting the blind side of Jalen Hurts when the season starts on week 1 in Atlanta against the Falcons. It's over. Nick Sirianni is still holding on to that whole idea of competition because Andre Dillard just came back from injury, so it's still being debated. No. That's what he said. What actually happened was Andre Dillard was with the 2s and Jordan Mailata was with the 1s. So we can stop playing games as far as that's concerned, and we can stop playing games, like I said, about Jalen Hurts, whether or not he's the starting quarterback of this football team. But here's Nick Sirianni yesterday during his press conference talking about the layoff, the big layoff here. It's going to be, let's see, as I said, a month between snaps for Jalen Hurts in a game if he doesn't play Friday. And then if he does play Friday, it's still going to be 2 weeks before they actually kick off the season and play. So Nick Sirianni was asked about preparation for the season and how they keep players in tune over the 2 weeks in between the last preseason game and the start of the season in Atlanta.
This is a brand new territory that we're in, right? And we don't plan on taking 2 weeks off before Atlanta, right? We plan on working our tails off that week, particularly that, we know what the week's going to look like before Atlanta, very similar to a week that's going to look like in week 4 or week 7 or whatever, that week's spelled out. And we're going to work our tails off that 2 weeks before. So we're going to work hard in that time frame. So again, it's all case by case of what we're going to do. Again, this is great. I love this work that we're getting, and with these 2 joint practices and the 3 preseason games, to me, that's what, seven preseason games in my mind of how we've been working.
That was 7 preseason games. You know what? Here's what I'll believe. I'll believe it's like a preseason game. I'll believe a practice is like a game. I'll believe a joint practices is on the same. I'll believe a joint practice is on the same level as a game when the CBA starts protesting it. That's what I'll believe. When the Players Association starts saying, "Oh, you know what? We can't have many joint practices. it's like a game, so we can't have that many. Let's take them back. And you know what? Pay us more for joint practices. That's when I'll believe it's on the same level. That is the only time I'll believe, and the only way I'll start to believe that a joint practice is on the same level as a game. When the Players Association goes, can you pay us more money for doing this thing? Because it's like 7. You heard a coach just say it. It's like 7 games. It's going to happen eventually, right? That's the way. That's the direction this is all going, unfortunately. Something else I want to get into here. I'm covering all the bases. And by the way, as far as starters playing on Friday, I would still love to see Jalen Hurts out there. I'd still love to see members of the offensive line out there. It's great. We'll get Barrett Brooks' take on that in a second. But Nick Sirianni was non-committal. Nick Sirianni not in committal as to who was going to be starting tomorrow night against the Jets in their preseason finale when they wrap things up against the Jets in North Jersey. So we'll follow that as things continue to come out. In the basketball world, I thought this was interesting. I was going to play the audio for you for this, but it doesn't really look like it's bad audio. But all that happened was Dame Lillard, I guess he was out at dinner or something, and he decides to go on an Instagram Live. This is Dame Lillard I'm talking about. And he decides to go on Instagram Live, and he goes out there, and somebody in his Instagram Live says, "Are you leaving Portland?" And Damian Lillard goes, "No, I'm not leaving Portland. At least not right now, anyway." My first thought in my football obsessed mind was, that's all you have to do when you talk about, Jalen Hurts. Right now is your starting quarterback. That's all you have to say. Just right now. Dame Lillard knows to put a caveat in there. He knows to put a hedge in there. Well, that's Nick Sirianni. So he goes out there and he says that. The other thing that went through my mind was, again, right now, which means it's just the possibility is still very much open that he could be traded, hopefully to the 76ers, that's wide open as of right now what could happen the rest of this offseason with Dame Lillard's future. So that door, by his own mouth, is wide open, as it was when he did press conferences during the Olympics about whether or not he was going to be returning to Portland or not. So it's still wide open. Right trade package will bring Dame Lillard to Philadelphia. And let's hope that actually happens. That's what I'll be crossing my fingers for. Before we talk to Barrett, I do want to get this in as well. Back to the football world. I'll get into this with Barrett. If you didn't see this is amazing. The Athletic did a story where they polled 23 NFL agents. 23 NFL agents. And they asked them various questions. But the one that really stuck out was, which general manager is the least trustworthy in the NFL? And by golly, wouldn't you know who won that? Who do you think's the least trustworthy general manager in all of football? Getting 7 votes for the least trustworthy was your own Howie Roseman. There's a couple quotes I'll get to in our morning rush, but I just wanted to tee it up. A couple of quotes that I'll read you in our morning rush. After Howie Roseman, ranked number 2 as the least trustworthy with, I believe, 6 votes, was Bill Belichick. How about that? Interesting. It almost seems being the least trustworthy, almost like it's a good thing. And then the other, of all people, Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas, the 3rd least trusted general manager according to the NFL agents in the league. Howie Roseman, Bill Belichick, Joe Douglas, who worked with the aforementioned Howie Roseman, as we all know. Ain't that funny? But I was thinking about it, and I was like, isn't this kind of a good thing if NFL agents are saying they don't trust you? Because bottom line is, if a player wants to stay with you or a player wants to join a team, you're going to join a team regardless. And if it works for Bill Belichick, man, if you're less trustworthy than Bill Belichick, and he's got a hell of a lot more Super Bowls than you do, it sounds interesting. It sounds like it's not that bad a thing, in all honesty. When I first read the headline, oh, wow, Howie Roseman, man, he really is untrustworthy. And then I saw the other people he was ranked with, and I go, oh, it's actually kind of a compliment. So how about that? And don't you want somebody in business like that? Not for you to go into business with, as in like you have to trust him, but in terms of you're hiring that guy, you kind of always want to hire the guy that's a bit of a dick. And that's what Howie Roseman might be, according to a lot of these agents. And by the way, these are all agents that have probably also been fleeced by Howie Roseman in one way or another, which would be why you're not exactly trusting them. Let me tell you about my good friend and somebody that's great at business and someone I'd hire to be my general manager. You know who that is? That's Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Go to IHateStevenSinger.com. That's right, IHateStevenSinger.com right now. And make sure you take advantage of all they have to offer on some great things going on. Like right now, just $10, the 9/11 20th anniversary of 9/11. And this goes to a great organization that will fund a memorial in Pennsylvania to fund the people and the memorial and memory of everything that we experienced as Americans, that families experienced that were directly tied into 9/11, victims and all that. It's a great thing that Steven Singer's doing. It's only $10, and the proceeds go to this charitable donation. So make sure you take advantage of this when you go to IHateStevenSinger.com. And also, on a lighter note, obviously, if you want to go and get engaged, if you want to go and check out some great jewelry merchandise for someone in your family, a big jewelry purchase, make sure you go to Steven Singer at Steven Singer Jewelers. The other corner of 8th and Walnut, or online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. And how about this? The perfect price every single day. So you don't have to worry about whether or not the person next to you is paying more or less than you. It's very simple. They're getting the same price, the perfect price. So you don't have to worry about a discount, a sale, or anything like that, a promo code or a coupon. No, it's set at the perfect price every single day at Steven Singer Jewelers. That's Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right in Philadelphia at IHateStevenSinger.com. Without further ado, let's talk to, I know I say it a lot, one of my favorite people in the business, but he is. Barrett Brooks, ladies and gentlemen, will join us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Joining us right now on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line, one of my buds, one of my favorite people, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Mr. Barrett Brooks. You can catch him on NBC Sports Philadelphia. You can also catch him on The Middle. You can catch him on the NBC Sports Philadelphia My Teams app, all over the place, pre and post as well with the Philadelphia Eagles on NBC Sports Philadelphia. I don't even think you need an introduction, but there you go, buddy. How you doing?
Appreciate it, man. Thank you, man. You got me up early in the morning, but it's all good, bro. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? Not me. My good, you know, like at this point, Harry and Eitan, they wouldn't dare call me this early in the morning. But hey, you get a pass, bro. You get a pass.
You're the man. You're the man. Acting, they call it. Barrett, it's great to catch up with you. The show, The Middle's great. And I just as a quick aside, I'm glad to be joining the Jacob Media people, along with you, Eitan, and Harry, as a matter
Welcome
of fact.
to the fold, man. Welcome to the fold, man.
Look at it. So let me ask you this. There's the Don, the guy that runs Jacob Media, Joe Krause. Does he always wear the Kango hats? Is that just a thing?
That's his calling card.
Oh,
that's his calling card. I mean, he's been doing that for years, you know. I mean, that's just who he is. So, I mean, you know, Jacob Media, you know, we were like the flagship, you know, kind of breaking us open into the, you know, into Jacob Media. And, you know, I'm glad to see you guys got the post-game show going, you know, you Gunner, brother. You know, I mean, you guys, that's a great tandem, man. You know,
we have a lot of fun. Devin Caney's a big part of it.
Yeah,
obviously, we got Lane Johnson checking in on the show, John McMullen checking in on the show. So we're having ourselves a good time, man.
We're cool, man. That's cool, man.
And the Eagles, obviously, give us a lot to talk about. This is the main thing. And I don't know, we got a lot to cover as far as the Eagles go. Would you, bottom line, I'm going to put you on the spot right out of the gate, my friend. Would you, bottom line, play Jalen Hurts Friday against the Jets in the preseason finale?
Without a question. Without a question. I mean, you have to play. I mean, at this point, he's not going to play. I doubt it because, you know, they've won the day yesterday and they won the day before that. So he equates it to really it being a game, you know, during practice. But you cannot go out there and think you can get the same speed of the game. You know, no matter how hard he tries to push it out there that, you know, they played in 7 preseason games. No, you haven't played in 7 preseason games. Preseason games are a ramp up an extra 20% every time you step on the field when you're going against competition on game field type of conditions. Because at the end of the day, if a linebacker comes blitzing off the corner in these practices, he still won't hit the guy in a red jersey. In a game, he's going to lay you out, even if you're the quarterback. So you can't get the same speed. You know, even if he's blitzing, like the Jets linebacker, he's blitzing. He's going to give up a little bit. He's going to slow down a little bit, like 5 steps before he gets to the quarterback. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's not really the same speed as far as, them really getting hit. And also, you got to get the timing right with the offensive line. Those guys got to play together. They haven't played together in a game-type situation yet. And people think it's just the offensive line, but, as the blitzes that come. And the wide receivers and tight ends have to break off their routes to turn around and be that eye for the quarterback and get the ball to them when they have a blitz. If there's a guy that's hot, they got to react to it. They're not getting the same reads in these type of controlled conditions. These conditions are controlled. They know they're going to be on 9 and 7. They know they're going to be in a team set that we're going in red zone. When you're in a game, all that stuff is just right there. So it's not really a game, no matter how hard he tries to play it off as. It's not a game. So he needs to play, get that speed of the game. He's still a young guy. He started 4 games.
Yeah, you guys just had me going down there. Not a game, not a game,
No,
not a game. We talking about practice.
It's still practice. It's still practice.
It's not a game, not a game. The offensive line, they started the first game of the preseason. They played a couple of 2 series, I think. And then along with their quarterback, they haven't seen the football field because all of a sudden Nick Sirianni thought it best in the second preseason game against the Patriots. Oh, wait, Jalen Hurts can't play? Everybody's sitting. You're going to sit. You're going to sit. Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, all those guys. You're going to sit. So I will say this with the caveat, if the offensive line at least plays 3 out of the 5 starters, let's say, I want Jalen Hurts under center.
No question.
If it's going to be backups, then forget it. All right, chalk it up to not playing and see you during the regular season.
But I think those starters need to play also.
Brooks
needs to play next to Kelsey. Kelsey needs to play next to Sayamalu. Sayamalu needs to play next to Mailata. And Lane needs to play next to Brooks. At the end of the day, those guys need to be in concert with each other. They need to get the right reads, full speed. And without that, going in, when it does get to get into the season, it's no longer preseason, gets in those games count. You can't control that situation. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You can't call a time.
Yeah.
You can't call a time. I think, hey guys, could you guys lay up? Don't hit the quarterback. No, you know what I'm saying? He'll get his head taken off. So until he gets those game type of situations, it's really going hard for him to really, get that work that he really needs.
While we're talking about the offensive line, this always sticks out to me because the guy was so green when he came into the NFL, and that's Jordan Mailata. And I remember you, as a veteran offensive lineman, would catch up with him in the locker room and you'd talk to him. I wouldn't go so far.
Those were the days, weren't they, where we could talk players?
Yeah,
those were the days.
You guys would shake hands, you'd exchange ideas, and I don't want to say necessarily that you were coaching the guy up, but you were definitely encouraging him. And I remember distinctly you saying, this was 2 years ago, man, you got this. You got this. And it was just when he started to come into his own. He had to go through some injuries, unfortunately. But can you just talk for a second about the maturation process to be at a level that he's at now, having not played football up until about 4 years ago, if that, having not played football, to now beating out a guy like Andre Dillard, who is a first-round pick and had played football his whole life. Just talk about the maturation process of Mailata.
Well, first of all, the offensive line coach Stoutland's a magician. He did something that took me 20 years to develop. He did it in less than 4 years. He made a guy that never played the position before a tackle. Not just a tackle, but a football player is a tackle now. And the sky's the limit for him. I mean, he moves around like he's 100 pounds lighter than what he is. He's so strong, and he's getting a little nasty streak in him. To me, I equated to that, that last Dallas game when he really went out there and he hit Lawrence and he put Lawrence on his back, and he's like, wow, I can do this. I mean, if I put my hands on somebody, I could really hurt somebody. And he liked the feeling. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. So I'm gonna start doing it more. So he really got what it is to be an offensive lineman. He got the balance you need as an offensive tackle. He got the foot speed. He's got the set now. He's getting the fundamentals. This guy could be a really dominant force at left tackle for the next 10 years, And, at the end of the day, they found that guy for him. Dillard, on the other hand, he just didn't have it. He didn't have enough to beat out him. Now, he could be a starter. He just won't start over Mailata. And they'd be a fool to even think that they're going to do anything like that just because he's a draft pick. Although I've seen it done before, it'd be foolish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you as far as that goes. I think the future for Andre Dillard is going to be held on somebody else's team. And look, I don't know what he could be. I just know that right now he can't be better than Jordan Mailata. That's all I know right now. And right now, that's all that matters. Now, the guy that he's going to be protecting is Jalen Hurts going into his first year as the number 1 quarterback. He hasn't officially been named the starter, but we all know the deal. It doesn't look like he'll play, as you mentioned earlier. It doesn't look like Jalen Hurts will play in the final preseason game.
Yeah, they attacked those 2 practices. They attacked them.
Not a game. Not a game. But Let me ask you a totally unfair question, but you're the expert in the field here. Who do you think Jalen Hurts is? Because I said on yesterday's show, if you were just like reading back to me his press conferences, or if I was just watching the press conference, didn't even see him. As far as mentality goes, this guy checks every box you want in a starting quarterback. So who is Jalen Hurts to you? What can he be?
I think he can be his ceiling, I think, is right around a Dak Prescott. I mean, Dak is good. Dak is everything that team needs. He's a guy that can go out there, and if you give him a running game, he could be the most accurate quarterback in the league, because when you can have a running game, you take that eighth defender and put him in a box. Now you have one-on-one on the outside. Then you guys are going to be running wide open, and he can complete those passes easy. He's going to do the work. He's going to go out there and make sure he's the last person to lead the field. He's the guy that you want because he's a locker room hero, man. They love Jalen Hurts. They'll do anything. They'll run through a brick wall for Jalen Hurts. At the end of the day, he still has to show how accurate he is as a passer. Now, if he can do that, the sky's the limit for this kid. Man, he can go out there and be a franchise quarterback. There's nothing stopping him. He's won everywhere he's went. So why not at the NFL level? I mean, for them to say that he's a bottom half type of quarterback, I don't see that. You know what I'm saying? Just give the guy a chance. He'll mature just like other quarterbacks mature, and his ceiling is as high as he wants it to be. But I think at the very least he can be a Dak Prescott.
All right, hey, that's some. I was the guy that, believe it or not, in the Carson Wentz year, I was like, why are they taking a quarter? Why are they trading up to take a quarterback? They don't have an offensive line set and ready to go. Take a quarterback later, maybe take a flyer in like the 4th round on a Dak Prescott, or even wait
right.
for a guy like Brandon Allen. I remember I was like the highest person and he was like a 6th round pick out of Arizona. But I watched him play in the Senior Bowl, and I got all geeked up for him. Anyway,
right.
Shows what a nerd I am. But I'm pretty high on Jalen Hurts right now. I think the biggest question is whether or not it's not about this year. It's more or less, will he play well enough this year to warrant a start next year?
And there lies the problem, or right. It's a great problem to have. But,
right.
Anytime, and it's looking like we're going to have that 1st round pick from Indy, Carson is supposed to start week 1.
Mm-hmm.
So if all the cards fall right, then yes, we'll have that 3rd pick. And it just looks really appetizing, to look at a guy that's right now playing the best out of any quarterback in the league, up there in Green Bay. A-Rod is somebody that you have to look at, and if you can get him for 3 first rounders, then why not go out there and get the best?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The best. I don't know how long his career is going to be after that, but I mean, I'm just saying, it's real hard to try to pass that up. Then you look at then you look at what's going on down in Houston. You just don't know what's going on with Watson. You don't know what his fate is going to be. So that's kind of a double-edged sword, because it can cut you, and really do some bad damage, but it could be a relief cut also and get you where you need to go. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be tough, plus, you got the kid, what's his name? Howell out of North Carolina. I forget his name.
Right.
He's there. So, I mean, he's looking pretty good too. He's supposed to be the next best thing.
I haven't even thought about the draft yet. I'm like, wait, is it April 20th? I'm gonna go look up some stuff on the draft.
I'm a geek, man. I've been watching film on everybody, bro.
I know you.
They got Emory Jones down in Florida right now that I was looking at, man. He might be the guy.
I was thinking about you because who's that boy you like? Who's the fellow you like? The boy the out of Florida, Flask was that his name?
Oh yeah, Trask, Kyle Trask. Yeah.
Trask, Kyle Trask. His debut wasn't looking so hot.
No. But the kid that he was playing in front of, Emory Jones, right now is a starter. He was a red zone threat when Trask was there. They take him, Trask out, and put him in there. And right now he's one of the top quarterbacks in next year's draft. So Emory's looking pretty good. So I mean,
all right.
I watch too much film. It's ridiculous, man.
I also want to ask you about Nick Sirianni. Look, we haven't seen him coach an NFL game yet. We haven't seen him game plan yet. We haven't seen him call plays during a real game away from the preseason. You talk about a guy that didn't start out so hot in his introductory press conference. I got to tell you, I love the energy. Two guys that I'm on board with right now, Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. When it comes to riding them out for the season, I'm very much excited to see what Nick Sirianni's offense really does when they start game planning. What are you expecting?
Well, I'm expecting, the game plan, because they're not game planning right now.
Right.
In fact, I think we're the only team that's not game planning. They haven't moved them around the pocket. We holler, screamed, and cussed all last year about, I don't know if I can even say his name anymore, man. He's gone now, but I mean, at
Which
the end
one,
of the
Doug
day,
Peterson or Carson Wentz?
Carson, man, Carson. You made me say it twice, man. Stop.
I
try not to
apologize.
say it, man. I try
Miss
not to
Guzzi.
say it.
Miss Guzzi.
But the guy that I will no longer say his name. They never moved him around in the pocket. They never gave him an opportunity to use his athletic talent outside the pocket. Once some waggle protection, when you pull the backside guard and have him like he's in front of him, like a wall of defense, while he can push the ball down the field because it looks like play action or even run play action. But of course, in order to go play action, you have to run the ball. We don't run the ball, So I want to see if he runs the ball. They ran the ball a lot when they were at Indy, so maybe it transfers here to Philly, and then run some boot protections. Allow him to go out there, use his talent out there on a corner and get the ball down the field. Cut the field in half if you want to. It doesn't matter. That's as long as you put an offense in there that's unique to his skill set. Run some RPOs. I haven't seen any RPOs. I haven't seen any boot protections. I haven't seen any waggle protection, nothing like that. So we have to game plan that. And plus, we're not running the ball. The first game where we ran 6 times in the first half, the second game was even less than that, So until we start running the ball, establish a run, I hope that's in his offense, and then use an offense that can move him around a little bit, let him use his talent, which will keep him out the middle of that pocket and not get crushed. Then, I'll take it as, all right, he's a guy that understands what he needs to do for his players. He needs to customize it around his players. If he doesn't, it's going to be a long season for this Eagles team because that right now it just looks like it's straight drop back. I haven't seen any of those protections. Do
you have a number this early? I mean, we still got a preseason game to go. Do you have a number in your head when it comes to this Eagles season? Do you think they'll be like a 10-7 team? Do you think they'll be like a 9-8 team? What type of season do you see?
After the first half of the first game, I'm thinking they could eventually win 9 games. And I've been stuck on 9 games, for the past 2 months. One of the only guys, because I'm a firm believer in if you are built well in the trenches, and right now I think we have a top 5 offensive line and a top 5 defensive line. If you're built well in the trenches, you can win football games, no matter who you put back there. You could put me back there at quarterback if I could throw just a little bit, but I can't. My shoulder will probably fall off. But
it's just the shoulder. That's the only problem for you. Right, nothing else. Everything else you got.
12 years and then dealing with you for 2 years, hey, my body's beat up, bro. But yeah, man, if you have a great offensive line, a great defensive line, it really makes things easier everywhere else.
Right. I got you. You mentioned building the team and all that stuff. The guy that is charged with building the team is Howie Roseman, and The Athletic polled 23 agents. All right, around the league, and asked them various questions. One of them was, who's the least trustworthy general manager or director of player personnel, whatever it might be. And I believe Howie Roseman finished first, getting 7 votes as the least trustworthy general manager, followed by Bill Belichick and then Joe Douglas. Wow. What do you make of Howie Roseman being the least trustworthy GM according to agents around the NFL?
Well, that just goes to show, man, either he's doing something very, very good, number one, or he's not worth a bag of rocks, but I just think it's the latter of the two. I think Howie is a guy that of course he's dealing with guys that are untrustworthy. So if he's on top of the most untrustworthy, maybe he's doing something a little right, because the things that you really fault Howie in are basic premises on keeping guys around a little longer than they're supposed to be. And I was one of those guys you kept, that they would keep around, older player. And he's too loyal to his players. So in that capacity, with the exception of Zach Ertz, that's my, outlier right there.
Gotcha. I understand.
But he kept, guys around and extended their careers way longer than they should have. Jason Peters around here a lot longer than he should have been. A lot of Alshon was hurt, and he was around a lot longer than he should have been. He gave D Jackson another shot. Those are older players that guys are like, why are you signing him back? Well, he's loyal to those guys, so he brought them back, So in that capacity, he's great from a player's point of view. He brought in Alshon when he was the best free agent wide receiver in the league. And then once he went out there and established himself, signed him to a deal. He said he was going to do it, and he did it. So the players, it seems like he was a good dude, but non-players, the agents that he had to work these contracts in, I can see him being a guy that'd be tough to work with, very tough to work with.
I'll tell you, I mean, once you see him at number 1, you're like, oh yeah, he's untrustworthy, and then you see Bill Belichick, and you're like, All right, maybe it's a good thing to be
Right.
to be somebody who's not trustworthy.
Look at Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas just I mean, he just pulled out the trade of the century, getting Jamal Adams out of there. He didn't want to be there and got all those first round picks for him. So I mean, he did his job. We got Carson out of here. They got a song and a dance for him, but it might come up to be a first round pick for him. So at the end of the day, Howie is just like any other GM. You know what I mean?
You just said the name again, by the way. That's 3-time Carson, man. You just said it.
Dude, it almost came up, bro. It almost came up. I had to stop myself, man.
Last thing for you, man. I know you got to get running here at this early hour. I know you got to go back to bed, maybe. But I know you got the middle coming up. You got the middle coming up at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Last thing for you. Have you or any teammate of yours ever came to the stadium dressed as Landon Dickerson? Came to the stadium in the last preseason game in his overalls and
if
cowboy
it
hat.
if it wasn't Halloween, no. You know what I mean? I thought it was Hacksaw Jim Duggan. What's his name? That's that's what I thought it was, but no, that's actually him. So hey man, you can take the country out of the music singer, but you can't take the music singer out of the country. Is that what it is? I was trying to put it in like country terms.
I think you got it, man. I think you got it. Yeah,
I was trying, man. I don't know what the country version of that is. I tried, bro.
Right. No. Wow. Thank you for putting Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Thank you for putting him back in my head because I have not thought about him probably since I was like maybe in the 3rd grade. Thank you for doing that, sir. Barrett Brooks, catch him on the middle. You can catch him on the middle, of course, 11 and 1 o'clock middays through Philly Voice. You guys are also on YouTube. Yep. All right. And then Facebook and YouTube. Also, make sure you catch them on NBC Sports Philadelphia Eagles pre and post, and catch them throughout the week on NBC Sports Philadelphia as well. Barrett.
Just don't catch me this early in the morning.
Just don't catch him this night, buddy. Night. All right. Barrett, thank you so much for joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Just one last. Hey! Thank you very much.
Later, bro.
Do I have a 4x4 around here? All right. See you, brother. Thanks so much. See you. I do love that man. Right. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Duggan or Dugan? I can't remember. But I remember that era, it was my first exposure to wrestling. The Bushwhackers. Remember the Bushwhackers? Those guys, that tag team. The Rockers with Shawn Michaels. That was a good time. Jake the Snake Roberts still in there. Obviously, Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior. Come on, man. Obviously, those guys. Andre the Giant. Yeah, I have not thought about those guys in a long time. And I'm not a big wrestling fan. I got into the wrestling again in around high school, I guess. Maybe I was in 8th grade. High school. No, I think it was high school because I had Mankind, Mick Foley, all those guys. And The Rock was fighting Triple H for the championship and all that. And then The Rock won. And I was like, okay, I'm done here. And then I haven't gotten into wrestling ever since then. I just haven't gotten into it. But that was the golden age for me, man. Hacksaw Jim Duggan and all those guys. That was the 4x4 over the shoulder, that whole thing. That was a good time. That was maybe it was a 2x4. Either way, that was a good time. Thanks again to Barrett Brooks for joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Always good catching up with him. Let me tell you about the great people at Rothman Orthopaedics. How about this? If you need somebody that's an expert in orthopedics, go no further than Rothman Orthopaedics. When you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopaedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physician only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Rothman Orthopaedics, the official orthopedic partner of your Phillies, Eagles, and Sixers. That's RothmanOrtho.com. And also Steak and Maine. Steak and Maine, a fine sponsor of this very program, ladies and gentlemen. Do what many people have done already and discovered the greatness of this restaurant, this bar, this steakhouse, this sushi house as well. Steak and Maine in Northeast Maryland. Whether you dine in a more upscale steakhouse or their casual bar and patio, you'll enjoy the highest quality of prime meats, fresh seafood, world-class oyster bar, and freshly prepared sushi. All that and an extensive wine list, including their own Cavada Cellars wines. Open every day for lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Steak in Maine and Northeast Maryland voted #1 place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel. Check it out for yourself. Go to steakandmaine.com for more information. I was actually just checking out their social media sites again, their social media platforms. And there was some lady that was saying that she really liked the place. And I saw Tony respond and say, "Oh, thank you so much." And I went and clicked on the ladies. They like 700,000 people follow this person, and she's telling you to go to Steak and Maine. All right, if that person with that following is telling people to go to this place, if you're not going to take my word for it, take the nice lady's word for it right there. So make sure you check out steakandmaine.com for more information. With all that's going on in the Philadelphia sports scene, make sure you're following it all at phlsportsnation.com. That's phlsportsnation.com, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the comment section. Right here on the Farzy Show, and another duo social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. Let's go all the way to the top of the charts and see who we have here. Dan, like old times, leading off and playing center field. What's up, Dan Schwartz? Nice to have you. As always, Phillies loss is rough. Big shout out to Marc for smoking up PJ, Mally, and myself. I still can't believe PJ was babysitting. He was out of control. Good times. Come on now. PJ. Should I bring PJ in? PJ, do you feel like coming in? Give me a thumbs up and thumbs down. All right, PJ. There we go. And he's got his Nasty Knuckles t-shirt on. First off, let's just ask producer Jim, is where PJ comes from. Let's just ask producer Jim whether or not PJ is an okay nickname for you. I'll just ask you that right out of the gate. Are you okay, producer Jim, with the PJ moniker that you're getting? Well, you can hear me, right? I just can't hear you yet. Or can we hear you?
Good now.
You think we're good now?
I think we're good now.
All right. So are we down with PJ? Is PJ all right? Like I'll still call you Jim.
It's definitely better than some of the other things I could be called. So, we'll take PJ.
What do the Nasty Knuckles boys call you? Because you know those hockey guys that got a nickname for everybody.
It's a mix between Jim and other stuff that's kind of, Riley got punched a lot, so it's kind of just indiscernible.
For those that don't know, PJ, producer Jim, is 7'4". He is really tall. Just so people know. I don't know if they know that about you or not, my friend.
My height changes every week. Yeah.
Like my weight fluctuates, so does your height. Exactly.
Oh, the weight goes with
PJ. PJ, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you. Let's check in back with the good people of the chat once again, now that we have that settled. Broads is checking in. What's up, Broads? April, good morning to you. That game was brutal. I agree. Mally, what's happening? Ross, what's going on? Yo, Ross, new guy. All right. Welcome aboard, Ross. Nice to have you. James is in. What's going on, James? And welcoming Ross as well. Look, just a happy family here in the chat. That's a happy family in the chat. Yo, Ross, April, Mally, Hunter, Sealski. Wow, Dan. All right. I like that people that enter the chat for the first time are already like right away indoctrinated into the Mike Sealski hate train that you animals started. Dak, what's up, man? Dak and Jay. That one hurt last night. You're damn right it hurt last night. In the feels. I was like, oh my God, Rhys Hoskins, your groin hurts too? Yeah, no way. Phillies gas you up and then they laugh at us. It does happen. Mally's saying, Joe, stay leaving the starters out there to hang themselves. It's the way it feels, unfortunately. Excuse me. I think it was my first sneeze on the air. Mark, I think you're forgetting that the Phillies suck. Hard to beat. And you're right. That is the thing I constantly. Let me just real quick. Let me tell you a quick little anecdote, if I may, if you indulge. So I was a lifeguard for a time, not like an official one, but I was a swim teacher. And at the end of every day teaching swimming in high school, they would bring in the summer camps, and the summer camps were, for kids and stuff. And the camp counselor is supposed to be in charge of the kids, but when they were at the pool, the camp counselor was like, "Oh, we're off. The lifeguards have you." So me and like the other swim teachers would be the lifeguards and be by the pool and all that stuff. We knew CPR. We knew the whole thing. We had that all training. And it was an indoor pool. But anyway, basically what happened was this kid goes off the diving board. He was about 4 or 5 years old. And he wasn't on my diving board that I was watching. He was on the opposite diving board. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching people go off my board and everyone looks fine. And then for some reason, something just told me, check out the other board. And I looked over and this kid walks to the end of the diving board, looks at the water, and like just something didn't look right. And he jumps and just goes down. And I'm like, I'm looking and I'm waiting for him to come up. I watch one more person go off my board. They're fine. I look, the kid finally comes up and he has, if you've ever been a lifeguard, if you've ever been in a pool, and God forbid this has ever happened, you've seen someone about to drown, there is a very distinct look that is like kids can joke around. Oh, I'm drowning, you know, but there's a very distinct look of, oh crap, this is real. Like this is going down. So I jump in and it's going down. I jump in, I grab the kid, swim over to the side. I put his hand on the side of the wall and I say, hey man, you all right? And the kid looks at me and goes, oh, that's right. I don't know how to swim. Like, to this day, the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. He looks at me and is like, he went to the end of the diving board and was like, okay, goggles, check. Swim shirt, check. Swim shorts, check. Is there anything else I'm forgetting? Nope, I'm good. And then he jumps in. I go over there, grab him, put him on the side, and he looks at me dead serious. He goes, that's right, I don't know how to swim. The Phillies, for me, to tie it all together, it's like every night I watch the Phillies, and I get excited when something happens. Bryce Harper ties it up. Rhys Hoskins ties it up. They win 8 games in a row. And then all of a sudden they lose to a team like the Diamondbacks. They get swept by the Diamondbacks. Or they lose to the Rays 2 games they could have won. And I go, oh, that's right, the Phillies suck. Like, that's kind of how it comes for me. All right. Now, here's the other thing. The whole NL East sucks for the most part. The Braves, they haven't sucked lately. Hopefully they will suck against better teams. But as of right now, when I watch this team, I'm thinking, oh, that's right, they suck. Why am I getting sucked into this when I realize they're probably just going to collapse again? I tell you all that to tell you this: Phillies suck. A lot of emo references. This is where the emo references start up. You fine people, you beautiful human beings. Let's see. Such typical frustrating teams. James is saying that. You're absolutely right. Emo is short for emotional? Is it? I don't know. I'll believe it. I'll believe you if you're selling. Sure. Brett saying, don't wake up the sleepy Eagles. Hey, the Eagles are in the midst of 7 preseason games, guys. They're not sleeping. The Eagles are in the midst of 7 preseason games because of practice. Anyway, I'm not going to take my bitterness out on them. At least not right now. Nick Sirianni, too much hurrah for me. That's Brian checking in. Here's the moment of truth for me, for the Eagles and Nick Sirianni. When that crucial, we got into this yesterday with E-Rock. When the moment happens, that crucial moment happens in a game where he decides to go for it on 4th down, or he has a play call that is just the worst play call we've ever seen, right? When that happens, and reporters are in the press conference after the game, and they're hammering that point, and they're saying, like, remember when Doug Peterson, after Carson Wentz, like, was knocked out of a game for a minute or two because he hit his head? He had him as a lead blocker on a rollout, on a toss left, like something like that. When Nick Sirianni is just in the press conference and he's just getting blasted, like salt and peppered, man. When he's getting peppered with questions from all the people in the media about that one particular play, I want to see how Nick handles that. That's like, obviously, I hope he's a great coach. I hope he's a great play caller, a great game manager, a great game planner, and everything. But I want to see how he handles that moment, because right now everything's practice. It's preseason. We're fine. But the moment the big questionable call happens in a game, that's the moment I want to see how Nick survives. That's the moment I want to see how he does. That'll be a real test or indoctrination of being a head coach in Philadelphia. Brett, my man, is arriving to dinner in Portland. How is he leaving? I don't know. But hopefully Dame Lillard is leaving to come to Philadelphia. Moshe Cap, hell yeah, damn right. We got the Inside Birds checking in. We got Broads checking in. Was that what Nick Sirianni said? Did I miss that, Brett? 2 weeks before September 21st, September 7th, and we know that going into it. Was that it? You have that in quotes, Brett. Was that a direct quote? Did I miss that? Did he actually say that out loud into microphones? Anyway, Nick Sirianni we're talking about there. Brian's checking in. Barrett is great. One epic step closer to Harry Mays. We'll get Harry on eventually. I don't think I've ever met Harry, unfortunately. Pretty good, Mally. Pretty. I like that Larry caught me saying I'm pretty high right now on Jalen Hurts. Just leave that part out. Hey, that's taking it out of context. So apparently it's supposed to be stormy for the next 2 weeks. Straight silence from the Farzy show and the faux weather girl. Luigi. Luigi's still on the weather girl. I'll get another weather girl. I will try my best to get a weather girl to break down all the storms that are coming up tomorrow. Mally says Baywatch Farzy with the handlebar mustache. I say what? I almost missed the party. Gabe, welcome back to the party. What am I walking into? Welcome to the party, pal. Gabe, Marc grabbing a kid who can't swim. I saved a kid's life, bro. The lifeguard that was supposed to have that diving board, she was off in La La Land, like looking down the other end of the pool, not watching what she was supposed to be watching. When she finally knew what was happening, I already had a kid's life saved on the side. If you get Lillard now, you have to win it this year or next year, or it's a wasted trade. Ray, you might not be wrong, my friend. You might not be wrong. No, Matt, I never met Harry Mays. We never crossed paths. I was going into the Fanatic when he was coming out. Dan Schwartz, weather girl tomorrow. That's a lot of pressure. I didn't say weather girl tomorrow. I said I'm going to try to get you a weather girl tomorrow. All right, try. Probably not going to happen, but I'm going to try. That's what I guarantee you, how much I'll try. Hi, Kevin. I heard weather girl tomorrow. I heard try weather girl tomorrow. Anyway, thanks for joining us as always on the chat. You guys are awesome per usual. Much appreciated right there. That was the social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine at steakandmaine.com. Let's get into our morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. I mentioned earlier in the show that you got Zach Eflin on the bump tonight for the Phillies. Hopefully they start this off. They start this off well tonight. I promised you this. I was going to give you the comments said by agents that voted Howie Roseman as the, quote, least trustworthy general manager in all of football. This is general managers or front office leader, all right, to whom you trust the least. Here are the quotes about Howie Roseman. And yes, to all the people in the chat, my mind went immediately to Zach Ertz. Like, immediately went to Zach Ertz. But here's what you got. He's always playing both sides at all times. He's not dishonest. He's a hedger. Always make sure he has a side deal. The reason I'm going to go through these aren't necessarily to rip Howie Roseman. Like, if you're telling me that's my general manager, I'm going, hell yeah, general manager. That's what you did. Damn right, that's what you do. Howie will do what Howie needs to do. I say that with tremendous reverence, but I don't trust him. Like, in all honesty, in business, you really shouldn't trust anybody. I mean, so again, I know you want to kind of have this like hunky-dory puppy dogs and ice cream relationship with your general manager, but that ain't happening. And this is another one. This is easy. He tells you one thing and he does the opposite. You could tell him something and I say it stays between us. Then 3 or 4 people are hitting me up about what we discussed. It doesn't make him a bad guy, but there's no transparency. Well, if he's being transparent with somebody else, unfortunately. Now that's the one that I'll rip Howie for. That should never be the case. Should never be the case. And if you have an agent saying that, then you know what that makes me think of? That makes me go back to I can't remember if it was the Jeff McClain story or the Zach Berman story. Both stories were kind of about the behind-the-scenes goings-on with Howie Roseman in the front office and the rest of the organization. Because if you remember, one of those stories pointed out that Howie Roseman at one point threatened to go through employees' phones in the front office to see who had been texting media or whoever stuff that was supposed to stay internal. But if an agent is coming out and saying this, saying that he is going out there and telling Howie Roseman this stays between us, but Howie's still telling other people, and then those things leak out, and then the agent gets hit up by 3 or 4 other people about what they had discussed and said, hey, this is just between you and me, and guess what? It didn't stay between them. Well, that's bad, because that's the type of trustworthy that you really can't break in any type of business. Hey, this stays between us. If that's the case, that's bad. That's something that shouldn't be happening. And you know what? Probably one of the worst ones on this as well. The last one. Why is Howie Roseman the least trustworthy general manager or front office leader in the NFL? Why? Because he's Howie. I love that answer. Why? Because he's Howie. I would have said former Washington team president Bruce Allen, but he's gone. That's what you have. That's what you have running the organization right now. Phillies back in action tonight. Like I said, hopefully they get a nice little win. Puppy dogs and ice cream. What kind? Vanilla or chocolate? Does anyone please hit me up? And I hope someone gets what movie this is from immediately. Mikey, you think everything's all puppy dogs and ice cream, or you start talking to him about puppy dogs and ice cream, and everything's going to end up on the friendship tip. Can anyone get that in like the next 5 seconds on the chat before I sign off here? I hope you know what movie. Trent says it to Mikey if you need a hint. Nobody? All right, hopefully you get it as I sign off. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hope the Phillies again hopefully turn things around today and then this little losing streak that they have going on there. No, April, not mint chocolate chip. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe on our YouTube, our Twitch, and also make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts as well. My thanks to producer Jim Hyden, who produced the program. Good old JP, or PJ, excuse me. Jeez, I already messed up his nickname. PJ. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. I am so disappointed, folks. Swingers, the movie Swingers, Jon Favreau, Vince Vaughn. You start talking to the girls about puppy dogs and ice cream and all that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining the show. Really appreciate it. As always, we'll see you guys tomorrow. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production, and we'll get you ready for the Eagles preseason finale against the New York Jets. Have a great day, everybody. Let's go, Phils. Take it easy.